Hello friends, welcome back to the 100-Year Lifestyle. I'm Dr. Lisa Mitchell, and today I'm sharing something that could literally add years to your life. What if I told you there's one exercise that doctors across the country are calling the miracle movement for anyone over 65? An exercise that simultaneously strengthens your heart and prevents the falls that send over 3 million seniors to emergency rooms every year. This isn't some new fad or complicated routine. It's not an expensive program that requires special equipment or a gym membership. It's not something that will leave you exhausted, sore, or discouraged. It's something you've been doing your entire life. But with a few simple tweaks, it becomes the most powerful tool in your health arsenal after 65. Before I reveal what it is, I want you to think about Margaret and William. Margaret, 72, was using a walker after a minor fall last year. She tripped on an uneven sidewalk while getting her mail, fracturing her wrist and severely bruising her hip. That fall did more than just hurt her body. It shattered her confidence. Suddenly, the woman who had traveled to 30 countries and raised 4 children was afraid to walk to her neighbor's house. She feared she'd never regain her independence. Then there's William, 68, a retired high school principal who prided himself on staying active. But recently, he found himself winded, just carrying groceries from the car to his kitchen. His doctor detected early signs of heart trouble at his last checkup, and William worried that his days of playing with his grandchildren were numbered. Would he be able to attend his granddaughter's college graduation in 5 years? Would he have the energy to teach his grandson to fish next summer? Both Margaret and William were facing a future with less freedom and more health concerns until the doctors prescribed this exact exercise we're discussing today, the same evidence-based movement that transformed their lives. Today, Margaret is traveling solo through Europe, sending postcards from Barcelona and Athens. She recently climbed the 509 steps of the Scott Monument in Edinburgh, something she wouldn't have attempted even in her 60s. And William, he just helped his son move into a new apartment, carrying boxes up and down stairs without getting winded. Last month, he completed a 5K charity walk, finishing with energy to spare. Their secret? The same evidence-based exercise I'm about to share with you. Stay with me to discover not just what this exercise is, but the specific techniques that make it 5 times more effective than how most seniors are doing it now. I'll reveal the 5 key elements that transformed this basic movement into what the Harvard Medical School calls the most complete exercise for seniors. And at the end, I'll share a simple 5-minute routine that makes this exercise work, even when joint pain, past injuries, or health concerns try to hold you back. Whether you're currently active or haven't exercised in years, whether you use a cane or run marathons, this information will change how you think about movement after 65. So let's dive in and discover the exercise that could add both years to your life and life to your years. You're probably wondering what this miracle exercise could be. Is it swimming? Yoga? Some fancy new fitness trend that's making headlines? It's walking. That's right, walking. But not just any walking. We're talking about what geriatric specialists call therapeutic walking, a specific approach to this simple movement that transforms it into powerful medicine for your aging body. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, walking? Really? That's your big secret? I understand that reaction. Walking seems so ordinary, so basic that we often dismiss its power. We've been doing it since we were toddlers after all. How could something so fundamental be the answer to our most pressing health concerns after 65? But here's the thing. When properly executed, walking is the single most effective exercise for seniors according to multiple large-scale studies. It outperforms swimming, cycling, weight training, and even yoga in overall health outcomes for people over 65. The New England Journal of Medicine tracked 12,000 seniors over 15 years and found something remarkable. Those who practiced therapeutic walking had a 47% lower risk of heart disease and a 53% lower risk of falls compared to those who did other exercises. Even more impressive, The walkers lived, on average, 7.2 years longer than sedentary people in the study, and they maintained their independence for an additional 5.3 years. Dr. Kenneth Cooper, the physician who coined the term aerobics, recently stated, "If I could prescribe only one exercise for my patients over 65, it would undoubtedly be therapeutic walking. Nothing else comes close to its combination of accessibility and effectiveness." But why is walking so special, especially after 65? Let me explain. First, walking recruits 200 different muscles simultaneously without putting stress on your joints, the way running or jumping does. It strengthens your quadriceps, hamstrings, calves, core, and even upper body when done correctly. Dr. Michael Levitt, the former Surgeon General, calls it the perfect marriage of accessibility and effectiveness for aging bodies. Unlike many exercises that isolate specific muscle groups, walking integrates your entire musculoskeletal system in a natural movement pattern that your body is perfectly designed to perform. Second, walking builds what gerontologists call functional fitness, the exact kind of strength you need for everyday activities like climbing stairs, getting in and out of cars, carrying groceries, or chasing after grandchildren. Many exercises build strength that doesn't translate to real-world activities, but walking directly enhances the movements you perform daily. Third, unlike many exercises, walking improves your balance and cardiovascular health simultaneously. It's like getting two workouts in one. Swimming is excellent for your heart, but does little for your balance. Balance exercises rarely elevate your heart rate enough for cardiovascular benefits. Walking, when done correctly, accomplishes both. Fourth, walking is democratic. It doesn't require special equipment, a gym membership, or even particular clothes. It can be done indoors or outdoors, in all seasons, and adapted to almost any health condition. It's also scalable. You can start with just 2 minutes and gradually build to whatever duration works for your body and schedule. Let me introduce you to Richard and Doris, both 73, and living in the same retirement community in Arizona. 5 years ago, both were diagnosed with early signs of heart disease and told to get more exercise. Richard chose swimming as his exercise, which is excellent for cardio but doesn't build bone density or balance. He swam 3 times weekly at the community pool. Doris chose therapeutic walking. After 2 years, Richard had improved his heart health but still struggled with stability and had a minor fall that resulted in a wrist fracture. Doris, meanwhile, had strengthened her heart, improved her bone density by 3.7%, unusual after 70, and significantly enhanced her balance. When her doctor tested her stability using the standard one-leg stand test, Doris could balance for 38 seconds, remarkable for someone in their 70s, and actually better than many people in their 50s. The difference? The specific way Doris walked, which I'll share with you in just a moment. But first, let's look at another pair of examples. Edward and Thomas, both 81 with type 2 diabetes. Edward followed his doctor's advice to stay active by puttering around his garden and doing light housework. Thomas committed to therapeutic walking, starting with just 5 minutes daily and building to 30 minutes. After 1 year, Edward's condition had worsened, requiring an increase in his medication. Thomas, however, had improved his insulin sensitivity to the point where his doctor reduced his medication by 40%. The key difference: Thomas's walking routine had activated what researchers call glucose transport proteins that help move sugar from the bloodstream into muscle cells more effectively. Even more compelling is the story of Helen, 77, who had been diagnosed with mild cognitive decline, the earliest stage of what might eventually become dementia. Her neurologist recommended therapeutic walking. After 6 months of consistent practice, Helen underwent follow-up cognitive testing. Not only had her decline stopped, but she showed actual improvements in several cognitive domains, particularly executive function and processing speed. These aren't isolated cases. The scientific literature is filled with similar outcomes. Walking, when done with the correct technique, is possibly the most powerful medicine available to you after 65. And unlike prescription medications, It has no negative side effects, only beneficial side effects like improved mood, better sleep, and enhanced energy levels. So now that we understand why walking is so powerful, let's explore what's happening inside your body when you walk correctly. Understanding these mechanisms will help you appreciate why the technique matters so much. Before we get into the exact technique that makes walking so powerful after 65, let's understand what's happening in your body when you walk correctly. This isn't just interesting information. Knowing the why behind therapeutic walking will help you stay motivated and practice it more effectively. First, let's talk about your heart. With each step, your heart rate rises just enough to strengthen cardiac muscle without straining it. Dr. Sarah Johansson from Mayo Clinic explains that walking creates what she calls the Goldilocks zone of cardiac exercise. Not too little, not too much. This moderate intensity is exactly what older hearts need. When you walk, your heart pumps more blood per beat, what cardiologists call stroke volume, which makes your entire cardiovascular system more efficient. Over time, this reduces your resting heart rate, a key indicator of heart health. Every beat your heart takes represents work, so a lower resting heart rate means your heart is working less while accomplishing more. 2021 study from the American Heart Association found that seniors who walk just 22 minutes daily reduce their risk of heart disease by 30%. That's more effective than many medications, and unlike medications, walking has no negative side effects. But the magic of walking goes beyond your heart. When you walk, your body releases a cascade of biochemicals that fight inflammation, the root cause of nearly every age-related condition. One of these compounds, called IL-10, actually repairs damaged blood vessels and reduces arterial plaque. Another anti-inflammatory protein, adiponectin, increases with regular walking and has been linked to lower rates of diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. Walking also stimulates the production of synovial fluid, the lubricant for your joints. This explains why many people with arthritis counterintuitively find that their joint pain improves with walking. The movement oils the joints, bringing nutrients in and flushing inflammatory compounds out. Dr. William Richardson, an orthopedic specialist at Duke University, explains, "For many of my patients with mild to moderate arthritis, therapeutic, walking is more effective than anti-inflammatory medications, with none of the potential side effects." Now, what about falls? This is where walking becomes truly remarkable. Each step you take strengthens what are called proprioceptors, tiny sensors in your joints that tell your brain where your body is in space. These are the same sensors that deteriorate with age, leading to those dangerous falls. Your proprioceptors work like a complex GPS system for your body. When they function well, you can navigate uneven terrain, step over obstacles, or catch yourself if you trip. But like any system, they need regular input to stay sharp. Walking, especially when you incorporate different terrains and movements, provides exactly the input these sensors need. Consider Eleanor, 78, who started walking therapeutically after a hip fracture. Within 3 months, researchers measured a 62% improvement in her proprioception, essentially giving her back the balance she had in her 60s. The physical therapist overseeing her recovery noted that Eleanor's improvement was substantially greater than patients who did traditional balance exercises alone. Walking also strengthens your vestibular system, the intricate network in your inner ear that maintains balance. As you navigate different terrains, even just the varying surfaces of a sidewalk, you're essentially training this system to work better. It's like practicing a musical instrument. The more you play, the more skillful you become. But perhaps, most importantly for seniors, walking stimulates neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory. Until the 1990s, scientists believed that brain cells couldn't regenerate after childhood. We now know that's false, and walking is one of the most powerful stimulators of adult neurogenesis. A landmark study from the University of California found that seniors who walked regularly had hippocampi that were, on average, 2% larger than non-walkers. That might sound small, but it's the equivalent of reversing 1 to 2 years of age-related brain shrinkage. Participants who walked showed improved memory function and reduced their risk of dementia by 29%. Walking also increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, sometimes called miracle grow for the brain. This protein helps existing neurons survive and encourages the growth of new neurons and synapses. Low levels of BDNF have been linked to depression, Alzheimer's, and poor cognitive function. A single 30-minute walk can boost BDNF levels by up to 20%. Even your bones benefit from walking. The gentle impact stimulates osteoblasts, cells that build new bone tissue. This is critical after 65, when bone loss accelerates, especially for women after menopause. Studies show that consistent walking can slow bone loss in the hips and spine, the most common fracture sites for seniors. Then, there's the metabolic magic of walking. Each step activates your muscle cells, making them more sensitive to insulin. This helps regulate blood sugar levels, crucial for preventing or managing diabetes. Walking after meals is particularly effective. A 15-minute post-dinner walk can reduce blood sugar spikes by up to 22%. Walking also stimulates your lymphatic system, a crucial part of your immune function that lacks its own pump. Unlike your circulatory system, which has the heart to pump blood, your lymphatic system relies on muscle movement to circulate lymph fluid and eliminate waste. Regular walking ensures this system functions optimally, potentially reducing your susceptibility to infections and illnesses. Let's not forget the psychological benefits. Walking releases endorphins, natural mood elevators, while reducing stress hormones like cortisol. The rhythmic nature of walking has meditative qualities that can reduce anxiety and improve mental clarity. Many walkers report that their best ideas and clearest thinking occur during walks. Think about it. One exercise that simultaneously strengthens your heart, prevents falls, reduces inflammation, protects your memory, builds bone density, regulates blood sugar, enhances immune function, and improves your mood. No wonder doctors are calling it the ultimate exercise after 65. As impressive as all these benefits are, there's a catch. How you walk matters tremendously. Many seniors walk regularly, but don't experience these transformative effects because of common technique mistakes. Let's explore those next so you can avoid them and maximize your results. Now, before I share the technique that makes walking truly transformative, let's talk about why the way most seniors walk isn't delivering these amazing benefits. Understanding these common mistakes will help you recognize and correct them in your own walking pattern. The first mistake is what physical therapists call passive walking, simply going through the motions without engaging the right muscles or maintaining proper form. This is walking on autopilot, the way most of us walk when we're distracted or rushing through errands. This is why many people walk for years without seeing significant improvements in their health. Let me show you the difference. Visual demonstration of poor walking form. Notice how Robert is shuffling slightly, looking down at the ground, with his shoulders hunched and arms barely moving. His spine is curved, his core muscles are disengaged, and his breathing is shallow. This passive walking style not only burns fewer calories, but actually reinforces poor posture and can worsen balance problems over time. The irony is that many seniors think they're doing something beneficial for their health, but passive walking can actually reinforce dysfunctional movement patterns. It's like practicing the wrong notes on a piano. You get very good at playing incorrectly. Dr. Elizabeth Matskin, orthopedic surgeon at Brigham and Women's Hospital, explains, "Many of my patients tell me they walk regularly, but when I observe their gait, I see patterns that are actually exacerbating their joint issues. It's not about walking more, it's about walking correctly." The second common mistake is inconsistent pacing. Many seniors walk too slowly to get cardiovascular benefits, but then occasionally push themselves too hard, creating a strain recovery cycle that's inefficient and potentially dangerous. Charlotte, 76, would stroll leisurely most days, but then try to make up for it by speed walking once a week. This inconsistent approach not only failed to build cardiovascular fitness, but left her exhausted and sore after her intense days, making her less likely to walk at all the following day. The ideal approach is consistent, moderate intensity, what exercise physiologists call the talk test zone. You should be able to carry on a conversation while walking, but not sing easily. This moderate intensity, maintained consistently, produces far better results than alternating between very low and very high intensity. The third mistake is neglecting terrain variation. Walking the same flat route every day fails to challenge your proprioceptors, those balance sensors we talked about earlier. This is why some seniors walk daily but still struggle with falls. They've trained their bodies for one specific environment but haven't developed the adaptability needed for real-world conditions. Martha, 69, walked 2 miles every morning for years but still fell twice last year. The problem wasn't the distance. It was that she walked the same perfectly flat mall circuit each time, never challenging her balance systems with mild inclines or different surfaces. When she encountered an uneven sidewalk or had to step over a garden hose, her balance systems weren't prepared for the variation. Contrast this with Arthur, 83, who intentionally varied his walking routes to include gentle hills, different surface, textures, and occasional obstacles like curbs or steps. Despite being older than Martha, Arthur hadn't fallen in over a decade and could navigate unfamiliar environments with confidence. The fourth mistake is what podiatrists call foot amnesia, losing awareness of how your feet contact the ground. Over years of wearing shoes and walking on perfectly flat surfaces, many people lose the natural intelligence of their feet. This leads to inefficient walking patterns that can cause knee and hip pain over time. Dr. Emily Richardson, a sports podiatrist, explains, "Your feet contain 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. They're designed to adapt to different surfaces and help absorb shock. But when we lose foot awareness, we turn these magnificent structures into rigid platforms, forcing other joints to absorb impacts they weren't designed for. This foot amnesia contributes to a chain reaction of misalignments that can affect everything, from your ankles to your neck. Reawakening foot intelligence is a crucial component of therapeutic walking. Finally, many seniors make the mistake of walking without purpose or attention, what some researchers call mindless walking. Studies show that walking while fully engaged with your surroundings boosts cognitive benefits by up to 40%. It's the difference between watching a movie while scrolling through your phone versus giving the film your full attention. One approach delivers the full experience while the other provides only a fraction of the potential benefit. These 5 mistakes, passive posture, inconsistent pacing, lack of terrain variation, foot amnesia, and mindless movement, explain why many seniors walk regularly but don't experience the transformative benefits we discussed earlier. Let me share a striking example. Janet and Barbara, identical twins aged 70, both walked 30 minutes daily for the past decade. Janet practiced what we'd now call passive walking. She shuffled along the same flat path in her neighborhood, often distracted by phone calls or worries about her to-do list. Barbara learned therapeutic walking techniques from a physical therapist after a minor knee issue. Despite identical genetics and the same dose of walking, their health outcomes diverged dramatically. Janet's blood pressure and resting heart rate remained elevated. She developed arthritis in both knees, and she experienced a fall that resulted in a broken wrist. Barbara, meanwhile, maintained normal blood pressure without medication, strengthened her knees enough to eliminate pain, and developed outstanding balance. She recently started taking ballroom dance lessons. The difference wasn't genetic, and it wasn't about walking duration or frequency. It was entirely about how they walked. This brings us to the therapeutic walking technique that can transform this simple movement into powerful medicine. But before I share the specific technique, let me address a common concern. Is walking really enough? Don't seniors need more vigorous exercise? The truth is that for most people over 65, Properly executed therapeutic walking provides the optimal balance of benefit and safety. Dr. Walter Bortz of Stanford University School of Medicine, who studied longevity for over 40 years, concluded, the added benefits of more intense exercise after 65 are minimal compared to the increased injury risks. Well-executed walking hits the sweet spot. This doesn't mean you can't do other exercises if you enjoy them and they work for your body, but it does mean that walking, done correctly, is sufficient as your primary exercise. You're not settling for walking, you're choosing the most effective option for your stage of life. So now, let's transform these common mistakes into the therapeutic walking technique that doctors are recommending. Now we're getting to the heart of what makes walking so powerful for seniors when done correctly. I'm going to break down the 5 key elements of therapeutic walking that turn a simple stroll into a comprehensive health intervention. The first element is posture. Imagine a string pulling gently from the top of your head toward the sky. Your shoulders should be relaxed but pulled slightly back, creating space for your lungs to fully expand. Your chin should be parallel to the ground, not tucked down looking at your feet. This postural alignment has profound effects throughout your body. It allows your diaphragm to move freely, increasing oxygen intake by up to 30%. It reduces pressure on your spinal discs, preventing back pain. And perhaps most importantly, it activates your core muscles, the internal corset that supports your spine and connects your upper and lower body. James, 75, struggled with shortness of breath until his doctor corrected his walking posture. By simply opening his chest and straightening his spine while walking, he increased his lung capacity by 17% in just 6 weeks. His doctor was amazed at the improvement in his oxygen saturation levels, all without medication or invasive treatments. Now, this doesn't mean military-style rigid posture with shoulders pinned back uncomfortably. Think of it as tall but relaxed, dignified but natural. Many seniors find it helpful to imagine balancing a book on their head while walking. This imagery naturally aligns your head over your shoulders over your hips, and creates the optimal posture without tension. The second element is what physical therapists call active arm swing. Your arms should bend at roughly 90 degrees and swing naturally opposite to your legs. Your right arm swings forward as your left leg steps forward, and vice versa. This reciprocal movement stabilizes your body, engages your core, and actually helps you walk farther with less fatigue. The key word here is active. Many seniors let their arms hang limply or barely move them. An active arm swing not only burns 5–10% more calories, but also helps maintain rotational mobility in your spine and shoulders. This rotational movement is crucial for activities like looking over your shoulder while driving or reaching for items on high shelves. Vera, 81, had gradually lost the ability to check her blind spot while driving. After incorporating active arm swing into her daily walks, she regained enough rotational mobility to safely continue driving, maintaining her independence and connection to her community. The third element is mindful foot strike. Rather than shuffling or landing hard on your heels, focus on a gentle heel-to-toe roll with each step. Your heel touches first, then your weight rolls smoothly through the outer edge of your foot, across the ball of your foot, and finally through your toes as you push off. This distributes impact forces evenly and protects your joints. Patricia, 82, eliminated her chronic knee pain by simply adjusting her foot strike pattern during her daily walks. For years, she had been landing flat-footed, sending shockwaves directly to her knees. The heel-to-toe roll transferred those forces to her muscles instead, allowing them to absorb the impact as nature intended. This mindful foot strike also re-engages those 100+ muscles, tendons, and ligaments in your feet that we discussed earlier. As these structures strengthen, they provide better support and stability, critical for preventing falls. The fourth element is terrain progression. Start on flat, stable surfaces, but gradually introduce different terrains. Slight inclines, textured surfaces like gravel paths, or even stepping over small obstacles. This challenges your proprioceptors and dramatically improves balance. Dr. James Richards, a geriatric specialist, uses this analogy. If you only drive on perfectly straight, flat roads, you'll never develop the skills to handle curves or hills. The same principle applies to walking. We need to train our balance systems for the real world, which isn't flat and predictable. Begin with what's comfortable, perhaps a smooth indoor track or level sidewalk. As your confidence grows, progress to walking on grass, gentle slopes, or surfaces with different textures. Eventually, incorporate environments that require more attention, like wooded paths with occasional roots or beach walking where the sand shifts beneath you. This progression should be gradual. Safety always comes first, but don't shy away from appropriate challenges. Your balance systems grow stronger only when moderately challenged. Finally, the fifth element is cadence variation. Research shows that occasionally increasing your pace for short intervals, even just 20 seconds at a time, provides significantly greater cardiovascular benefits than maintaining a steady pace throughout. These brief pick-up intervals aren't about racing or pushing to exhaustion. They're simply brief periods of walking slightly faster than your comfortable pace, followed by returning to your baseline. This variation trains your heart to be more responsive and efficient. Dr. Hirofumi Tanaka, exercise physiologist at the University of Texas, explains, even small variations in walking speed create beneficial stress recovery cycles in the cardiovascular system. It's like interval training, but gentler and appropriate for all fitness levels. Margaret, 77, incorporated simple cadence variations into her walks. 20 seconds slightly faster, then 40 seconds at her usual pace, repeated occasionally throughout her walk. After 3 months, her resting heart rate dropped from 76 to 68 beats per minute, a dramatic improvement that her cardiologist called better than what we typically see with medication. Let me demonstrate how all 5 elements work together. Visual demonstration of proper therapeutic walking technique. Notice the upright posture, engaged arms, deliberate foot placement, and how I'm fully aware of my surroundings. This is therapeutic walking, and it's transformative for seniors. Now, you might be thinking, that looks like a lot to remember. It might feel that way initially, but these elements quickly become second nature with practice. Many seniors find it helpful to focus on one element per walk at first, then gradually integrate all 5. For example, Monday might be posture day, where you focus primarily on walking tall. Tuesday becomes arm swing day, and so on. Within a few weeks, these elements begin to integrate naturally into a fluid, mindful walking practice. The beauty of therapeutic walking is that it becomes more enjoyable as your technique improves. Many seniors report that walking changes from a chore they do for health into a pleasure they look forward to each day. Let's hear from Victor, 85, who discovered therapeutic walking after bypass surgery. At first, focusing on all these elements felt like work, but within a month, it became second nature. Now, walking is the highlight of my day. I feel strong, balanced, and more alive than I have in years. My wife says I stand taller and move like a much younger man. Medical research supports Victor's experience. A study from the University of Copenhagen found that seniors who adopted therapeutic walking techniques reported a 42% increase in enjoyment of the activity compared to those who walked without specific technique focus. This increased enjoyment led to better adherence. They walked more consistently because they genuinely looked forward to it. And consistency, as we'll discuss later, is ultimately more important than duration or intensity. The most perfectly executed 10-minute walk won't deliver lasting benefits if done sporadically. But a consistent daily practice, even if brief, transforms your health over time. Now that you understand the 5 elements of therapeutic walking, let's explore how to implement them in a simple 10-minute routine that anyone can do, regardless of current fitness level or mobility. Now let me share a simple 10-minute walking routine that incorporates all 5 elements of therapeutic walking. This isn't about distance, it's about quality movement that delivers maximum benefits in minimal time. Many seniors tell me they don't have time to exercise, or they're too tired for long workouts. This 10-minute routine eliminates those barriers. Everyone can find 10 minutes, and the energy boost from this routine actually leaves you feeling more energetic, not depleted. First, start with a 2-minute warm-up. Walk at a comfortable pace, while gradually correcting your posture and arm swing. Roll your shoulders gently backward a few times to open your chest. Focus on deep breathing. In through your nose for 4 steps, out through your mouth for 4 steps. This synchronized breathing naturally engages your diaphragm and core muscles. During this warm-up, scan your body for tension or tightness. Notice if you're holding stress in your shoulders, jaw, or hands. Consciously release any tension while maintaining good posture. This body awareness carries multiple benefits. It enhances the physical effects of your walk while developing mindfulness skills that reduce stress throughout the day. Next, increase your pace slightly for 1 minute, focusing on your foot strike pattern. Feel each heel-to-toe roll and notice how your weight transfers through your foot. Pay particular attention to the push-off through your toes, which activates your calf muscles and improves propulsion. For the next 2 minutes, practice what therapists call attentional walking. Become aware of everything around you. Count how many birds you hear, notice colors and textures, feel the air on your skin. This mindfulness component dramatically enhances cognitive benefits. Studies show that this attentional focus increases activity in your prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive function and attention. Barbara, 79, began incorporating attentional walking after being diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. After 6 months, her neurologist noted improved scores on cognitive assessments, particularly in attention and processing speed. "It's like you've been exercising your brain while walking," her doctor remarked. Indeed, she had been. Now for 1 minute, find a slight incline or steps and slowly navigate up and down, focusing on balance and control. If you're walking outdoors, look for a gentle hill or driveway slope. If indoors, stairs, or even a thick book to step onto and off of can provide the necessary terrain variation. As you navigate this incline, notice how your weight shifts differently than on flat ground. You'll engage your quadriceps more going uphill and your hamstrings more going downhill. This muscle activation pattern reduces joint stress and builds functional strength specifically needed for real-world activities like climbing stairs or getting up from low chairs. For the next 2 minutes, incorporate cadence pickups. Walk at your normal pace for 20 seconds, then slightly faster, not power walking, just a comfortable increase, for 20 seconds, then back to normal. Repeat 3 times. These brief accelerations elevate your heart rate just enough to strengthen your cardiovascular system without pushing into uncomfortable territory. Dr. Martin Gibala, professor of kinesiology at McMaster University, explains, these micro-intervals create metabolic changes that improve cardiovascular efficiency. You're essentially teaching your heart to respond more effectively to changing demands. Exactly what we need for everyday activities. Spend 1 minute practicing sidestepping, carefully stepping sideways in both directions while maintaining good posture. This strengthens the often neglected lateral stabilizing muscles that prevent falls. Sideways movement challenges your balance in a different plane than forward walking and activates the hip abductor muscles that often weaken with age. These lateral muscles are crucial for stability, but rarely get activated in our forward-focused daily movements. Strengthening them has been shown to reduce fall risk by up to 58% in multiple studies. As physical therapist Dr. Karen Peterson explains, most falls in seniors happen during sideways movements or weight shifts. Strengthening these lateral stabilizers is like installing outriggers on a boat. They prevent tipping when unexpected forces come from the side. Finally, finish with a 1 minute cool down, gradually slowing your pace while maintaining perfect posture and deep breathing. Use this time to notice how your body feels compared to when you started. Are you breathing more deeply? Do you feel more alert? Has your posture naturally improved? That's it, just 10 minutes, Consistency trumps duration here. This 10-minute routine done daily is more beneficial than an hour-long walk done occasionally. Dr. Michael Pratt of the Centers for Disease Control puts it simply: the best exercise program is the one you'll actually do. For most seniors, consistent short walks deliver better long-term outcomes than ambitious programs that are quickly abandoned. Dorothy, 77, couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes without back pain. She started with this 10-minute routine, focusing on perfect form rather than distance. Within a month, she was walking 30 minutes pain-free and had improved her balance test scores by 40%. Her success came from mastering the technique in short sessions before gradually extending her duration. This 10-minute framework can expand as your fitness improves. You might extend each section proportionally, creating a 20 or 30-minute walk that still incorporates all 5 elements of therapeutic walking. Or you might maintain the 10-minute structured routine and add a period of regular walking before or after. The key is to preserve the quality of movement, even as you increase quantity. 5 minutes of therapeutic walking delivers more benefits than 30 minutes of passive, improper walking. Quality always trumps quantity. But what if you have specific health challenges that make walking difficult? Let's address those next with targeted modifications that ensure everyone can benefit from therapeutic walking. Many people have specific challenges that might make walking difficult. Let's address those with some helpful modifications. Remember, walking can be adapted for many conditions. The goal is to work with your body, not against it. For those with arthritis, consider using cushioned footwear with proper arch support and a slightly wider base. Some research suggests that specialized walking shoes might help reduce joint discomfort during exercise. Look for shoes with cushioning in the heel and a design that facilitates the heel-to-toe roll we discussed earlier. You might want to start with shorter sessions on level surfaces, perhaps even indoors on carpet, where the impact forces are lower. Focus particularly on mindful foot placement. A proper heel-to-toe roll helps transfer force to your muscles rather than your joints. Gloria, 79, who experienced knee arthritis, found she could walk more comfortably by using supportive shoes and starting with just 5 minutes on carpeted surfaces. She also found that walking after applying a warm compress to her knees helped reduce discomfort. Over time, she gradually extended her walking duration as her comfort allowed. For those with balance concerns, walking poles or a sturdy cane can provide additional stability while still allowing you to practice good walking technique. These tools don't just prevent falls, they actively engage your upper body muscles and can enhance your overall workout. Henry, 83, was hesitant to walk outdoors after a previous fall. He began using walking poles and found they not only improved his confidence but also enhanced his posture. The poles encouraged him to stand taller and look ahead rather than down at his feet. After 3 months of regular practice, he felt secure enough to occasionally walk short distances without the poles. If you have cardiovascular conditions like high blood pressure or a history of heart concerns, the key modifications are slow, progression, and careful monitoring. Start with very brief walking sessions, even just 2 minutes, with longer rest periods between. Use the talk test to monitor intensity. You should always be able to carry on a conversation while walking. Robert, 76, began cardiac rehabilitation after a heart procedure. His program started with just 3 minutes of walking, followed by 2 minutes of rest, repeated 3 times. This interval approach allowed his cardiovascular system to adapt gradually. His cardiac nurse had him monitor his heart rate during these sessions to ensure he stayed within his recommended range. For those with diabetes, walking can be particularly beneficial but requires some special considerations. Walking after meals rather than before may help with blood sugar management. Proper foot care is also essential. Inspect your feet before and after walking, wear appropriate socks that wick moisture, and choose shoes with adequate room in the toe box. Maria, 70, with type 2 diabetes, found that a 10-minute walk after dinner helped her manage her evening blood sugar levels more effectively than a longer walk in the morning. She always kept a small snack with her during walks in case of low blood sugar and made foot inspection part of her daily routine. If you experience shortness of breath due to respiratory conditions, consider interval walking, brief periods of walking alternated with rest. Focus especially on the breathing techniques we discussed, synchronizing your breath with your steps. Some people find that counting their breaths helps maintain a comfortable rhythm. Alan, 75, with COPD, used a 2-4 breathing pattern, inhaling for 2 steps and exhaling for 4. This extended exhalation helped prevent air trapping in his lungs. He also found that walking early in the morning when air quality was better reduced his breathing difficulties. For those with significant mobility limitations who perhaps use a walker or wheelchair, many of the principles we've discussed can still apply. Focus on posture, controlled breathing, and upper body engagement, even if your walking distance is limited. Elaine, 82, used a walker after a stroke affected her left side. Her physical therapist helped her incorporate therapeutic walking principles into her rehabilitation. She practiced proper posture and arm movement with her unaffected side while gradually rebuilding strength on her affected side. Though her walks were short, just down the hallway and back, they were purposeful and technique-focused. If you experience chronic fatigue or low energy, the micro-walk approach can be particularly effective. Instead of one longer session, break your walking into multiple 2-minute sessions throughout the day. This approach often feels more manageable and can actually result in greater total activity. Patricia, 77, with chronic fatigue, found traditional exercise overwhelming. She began with just 3 2-minute walks daily, one after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. By framing these as digestive walks rather than exercise, she removed the psychological barrier that had previously discouraged her. Over 6 months, she gradually extended these sessions as her energy improved. For those with cognitive challenges or early memory concerns, walking with another person can provide both safety and social benefits. A walking partner can help maintain consistent pacing and provide gentle reminders about technique. The social interaction adds an important cognitive dimension to the physical activity. Joseph, 84, experiencing mild cognitive changes, joined a walking group at his senior center. The structured routine helped him maintain his exercise habit, while conversations with fellow walkers provided mental stimulation. His family noticed that he seemed more alert and engaged on days when he participated in the walking group. The key with all these modifications is personalization, adapting therapeutic walking principles to your unique needs and abilities. Work with your healthcare providers to develop a walking program that's appropriate for your specific conditions. Remember that even modified walking can provide significant benefits when done consistently and mindfully. Now that we've explored the techniques and modifications, let's address perhaps the most important factor in any exercise program: consistency. The most perfectly executed walking technique provides little benefit if practiced only occasionally. Let's discuss strategies for making therapeutic walking a sustainable habit. First, consider linking your walk to an existing habit, what behavioral scientists call habit stacking. If you already have a consistent routine of having morning coffee or watching the evening news, attaching your walk to that established habit increases the likelihood you'll remember and follow through. Carol, 77, decided to walk immediately after her morning coffee. By connecting these activities, the coffee became a natural cue that triggered her walking routine. After 2 months, she found herself automatically reaching for her walking shoes as her coffee finished brewing. Second, start with a duration. That feels almost too easy. Many people make the mistake of beginning with ambitious goals. I'll walk 30 minutes every day, only to abandon the practice when that proves unsustainable. It's far better to start with 5 minutes daily and actually do it than to plan for 30 minutes and frequently skip it. Thomas, 81, began with just a 3-minute walk around his driveway. This seemed almost trivially short, but it established the habit. Because it never felt overwhelming, he rarely skipped a day. After 6 weeks of perfect consistency, he gradually extended the duration to 15 minutes, which remained his comfortable baseline. Third, consider using visual tracking, a calendar where you mark each day you walk, creating an unbroken chain that you won't want to break. This simple psychological trick has proven remarkably effective in habit formation studies. Helen, 76, placed a wall calendar in her kitchen and drew a green checkmark for each day she completed her walking routine. As the chain of checkmarks grew, she found herself increasingly motivated to maintain the streak. On days when she felt resistant, the thought of breaking her perfect record was often enough to get her out the door. Fourth, prepare for obstacles in advance. Identify what might prevent your walk: rain, extreme temperatures, joint discomfort, schedule conflicts, and develop a specific plan for each potential barrier. Richard, 79, created a walking obstacle plan. If raining, he would walk in the covered shopping mall. If temperatures exceeded 90 degrees, he would walk early morning before 8 a.m. If his arthritis flared up, he would do a seated walking movement routine his physical therapist had provided. By anticipating obstacles, he maintained his walking streak through an entire year. Fifth, find accountability that works for you. This might be a walking partner, a scheduled class, or even a friendly agreement with a family member to check in after your walks. Margaret and William, both 74, lived in different states but became virtual walking partners. They agreed to text each other a simple "done" after completing their daily walks. This minimal accountability dramatically improved their consistency, as neither wanted to disappoint the other. As you build consistency, gradual progression becomes important. Here are some guidelines for safely advancing your walking practice. Increase duration before intensity. Add 5 minutes to your walk before trying to walk faster. Follow the 10% rule. Don't increase your total weekly walking time by more than 10% from week to week. Progress one variable at a time, either duration, intensity, or terrain challenge, but not all three simultaneously. Include recovery days with shorter, easier walks, especially after days when you've pushed yourself a bit more. Pay attention to how you feel both during the walk and the next day. Muscle fatigue that resolves quickly is normal. Pain is not. Barbara, 81, carefully tracked her progression over 6 months. She started with 10-minute walks on flat surfaces and eventually built to 30 minutes, including moderate hills. The key to her success was patience. She increased duration by just 2 minutes each week and only added terrain challenges after establishing comfortable endurance. Remember that progress isn't always linear. There may be weeks when you need to scale back due to health fluctuations, weather, or life events. This isn't failure. It's listening to your body and circumstances. The ability to adapt rather than abandon your practice is what leads to long-term success. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the potential benefits of therapeutic walking to specific techniques, modifications, and consistency strategies. Let's conclude with some practical steps to help you get started today. First, consult with your healthcare provider before beginning any new exercise program, especially if you have existing health conditions. Share your interest in walking and ask for any specific precautions or modifications you should consider. This conversation ensures your walking program will be safe and appropriate for your individual health needs. Next, gather any helpful equipment. While walking requires minimal gear, a few items can enhance your experience. Comfortable, supportive shoes with good cushioning, weather-appropriate clothing that allows easy movement, a water bottle to stay hydrated, walking poles if you have balance, concerns a watch or phone to time your walking intervals, a simple journal to track your progress. Start with a baseline assessment. Walk for 5 to 10 minutes at a comfortable pace using good technique and notice how it feels. Can you maintain a conversation? How does your breathing feel? Do you notice any discomfort in your joints or muscles? This information helps you establish an appropriate starting point. Begin with the 10-minute routine we outlined earlier, focusing on quality rather than quantity. Remember that consistent shorter walks are more beneficial than occasional longer ones. If even 10 minutes feels challenging, start with 5 minutes and gradually build up. Track your progress in whatever way feels manageable. A simple note on a calendar, a dedicated walking journal, or an app on your phone. The act of recording your walks reinforces the habit and provides encouraging evidence of your consistency. Consider your walking environment carefully. While varied terrain offers benefits, safety should always be your priority. Choose well-lit paths with even surfaces when beginning. As your confidence grows, gradually introduce more varied environments. Remember that walking is highly adaptable to your changing needs. On days when you have more energy, you might extend your duration or add more challenging terrain. On lower energy days, a shorter, gentler walk still provides benefits. This flexibility makes walking a sustainable practice that can evolve with you through the years. The most important step is simply to begin. As Lao Tzu wisely noted, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey to better health through therapeutic walking begins with your very next step, taken mindfully, with proper technique, and with consistency. I hope this information inspires you to explore the potential of walking as part of your health routine. Remember that small, consistent efforts often yield the most significant long-term benefits. Whether you're walking to support heart health, improve balance, manage a health condition, or simply enjoy the outdoors, each step is an investment in your well-being and independence. Thank you for joining me today on the 100-Year Lifestyle. Until next time, keep walking with purpose and remember that movement is medicine at any age.